Hello, everyone. Welcome back to UK Pro Writers. Today, we have a fascinating research topic to delve into. Investigating how IMF interventions influence exchange rate stability and their link to trade balances and inflation rates. This is a crucial area of study with profound implications for global economics. So, let's jump right in. Importance of the research topic. The research topic on the influence of IMF interventions on exchange rate stability, trade balances, and inflation rates is crucial for understanding the intricate mechanisms shaping global economic stability. As nations increasingly rely on international financial institutions like the IMF, comprehending the consequences of their interventions becomes imperative for informed policymaking. This study holds significance in providing insights that can guide governments, economists, and businesses in navigating the complexities of international finance and fostering sustainable economic growth. Real-world examples. A poignant real-world example is the Asian financial crisis of 1997. Following the crisis, several Asian countries sought IMF interventions to stabilize their economies. However, the subsequent impact on exchange rates varied, with some experiencing devaluation, adversely affecting trade balances and contributing to inflationary pressures. Another compelling case is the Greece debt crisis in 2010. The IMF played a key role in providing financial assistance to Greece. The resulting austerity measures influenced exchange rates, trade imbalances, and inflation rates, showcasing the intricate and far-reaching consequences of IMF interventions in the context of a sovereign debt crisis. Chapter 1, Introduction. Chapter 1 lays the groundwork for our research. It's like the trailer of a movie, setting the stage for what's to come. Let's break it down into key components. Research problem. Identifying the problem is the first step. In our case, it could be understanding how IMF interventions affect exchange rates. For example, consider a scenario where a country's currency experiences sudden fluctuations after an IMF intervention. This is the problem we aim to address. Research significance. Next, we establish why our research matters. In our case, understanding the link between IMF interventions and exchange rates is vital for maintaining stability in the global economy. Research questions. How do IMF interventions impact exchange rate stability? What role do trade balances play in this relationship? How does inflation respond to changes in exchange rates? Research questions guide our exploration. Here are 3 examples relevant to our topic. Research objectives. To analyze the impact of IMF interventions on exchange rates. To assess the relationship between trade balances and exchange rate stability. To examine the effect of exchange rate fluctuations on inflation. Objectives outline what we aim to achieve. These objectives align with our research questions. Research rationale. Finally, the rationale explains why our study is needed. For instance, our research can provide valuable insights for policymakers and businesses in navigating economic challenges. Chapter 2, Literature Review. Now, let's move on to Chapter 2, the Literature Review. This is like the backstage tour, where we explore what others have discovered in this area. Subtopics. Historical perspective of IMF interventions. Effects of exchange rate stability on trade balances. Inflation dynamics in response to exchange rate changes. These subtopics help structure our literature review. We explore the historical context of IMF interventions, the relationship between exchange rate stability and trade balances, and how inflation responds to exchange rate changes. Theories and models. Mendel-Fleming model explains the interaction between exchange rates, fiscal policy, and monetary policy. Balance of payments theory focuses on the relationship between trade balances and exchange rates. In our review, we'll consider theories like the Mendel-Fleming model and the balance of payments theory. These models help us understand the complexities of our topic. Literature gap. Identifying a literature gap is crucial. For example, we might find that while there's extensive research on IMF interventions, there's a gap in understanding their nuanced impact on inflation dynamics. This becomes our research niche. Chapter 3, Methodology. Moving on to Chapter 3, Methodology. This is where we explain how we plan to investigate our research questions. Conceptual framework. Our conceptual framework involves three independent variables: IMF interventions, trade balances, and exchange rates influencing the dependent variable, inflation. Research philosophy. Considering the nature of our research, a pragmatic approach, combining elements of positivism and interpretivism, would be suitable. Research approach. For our deductive approach, we'll test existing theories to draw conclusions. Research strategy. A case study strategy allows us to analyze specific countries' experiences with IMF interventions. Data analysis method. Quantitative analysis suits our research, involving numerical data on exchange rates, trade balances, and inflation. Ethical considerations. Ethical considerations are crucial. For example, we must ensure the confidentiality of country-specific data to respect privacy and sovereignty. Limitations and delimitations. Acknowledging limitations and delimitations is essential. For instance, our study's generalizability may be restricted to countries with similar economic structures, and we might exclude qualitative data due to our focus on quantitative analysis. Chapter 4, Data Analysis. Now, let's fast forward to Chapter 4, Data Analysis, where we put our methodology into action. Quantitative analysis. In quantitative analysis, we might select a sample size of 20 countries based on diverse economic profiles for a comprehensive analysis. Qualitative analysis. For qualitative analysis, in-depth interviews with policymakers from 3 countries could provide valuable insights. Chapter 5, Conclusion and Recommendations. As we approach the conclusion, we reflect on our findings and offer recommendations for the way forward. Conclusion. Our conclusion summarizes key findings. For example, our study might reveal a significant impact of IMF interventions on exchange rates, with implications for trade balances and inflation dynamics. Recommendations. Recommendations guide future actions. In our case, we might suggest that policymakers consider a balanced approach to IMF interventions, taking into account trade and inflation dynamics. Suggestions for future research. Explore the long-term effects of IMF interventions on economic development. Investigate the role of regional economic alliances in shaping exchange rate stability. And finally, for future research, consider exploring the long-term effects of IMF interventions on economic development or investigating the role of regional economic alliances in shaping exchange rate stability. That wraps up our exploration of IMF interventions, exchange rates, and their impact on global economics. If you found this video informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And as always, keep exploring the world of economics with UK Pro writers. Until next time, stay curious,